Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, Minister and MECs who are here, and the CEOs, and of course members of the media. I see we have a full class this morning from the media, even those who are not of us to December here today. Of course, as part of the panel, we have a full complement almost. The MECs are with us. The MEC from the Northwest is with us here next to me. We also have the CEO of RTMC who is with us and is going to be obviously assisting us in terms of leading and also filing some of the questions. And then we have the MEC from Gauteng, Transport, MEC of Transport, with us here today. And next to her, it is Minister of Transport, Sindisiwe Chikunga. And then we have the MEC of Transport from the Free State, next to the Minister. And of course, the Minister, the man who is in charge of finances and transport, is always wearing a white shirt. Advocate James now. It doesn't smile at all sometimes. So at this point, colleagues, as you know, we're closing quite an important period, especially in the life of our road safety campaign. In December, we did issue some of the statistics at some point on the 22nd. And we did promise that we are going to come back to issue the final stats. And today, indeed, it is that day that we'll have to do that. But of course, we also want to apologize to MECs and the Minister that we've got to sit you in the sun. Why? Because this class of journalists, they are saying in terms of their cameras, there's a problem. When you are under the shade, it is darker. So it becomes more difficult for people to see you on TV. So hence we've had to sit you in the sun. So we apologize for that. So at this point, I do want to request the Minister to take us through the statement. My name is going to be Colin MCB for today. I'm the one who's going to chair the press conference. Over to you, Minister.
No, thank you very much, Mr. MCB. Oh, okay. Thank you very much, Mr. MCB. MECs who have joined us. We've got the MEC from Free State, Honorable Makwin Litsoha Matsai, MEC from Gauteng, Honorable Kedibone Diale Tabela, and MEC from Northwest, MEC Lehari. Director General of the Department of Transport, Advocate James Simlau, Deputy Director General for Roads at the Department of Transport, Mr. Christopher Hlabisa, Senior Managers and other officials of the Departments of Transport, representatives of provincial and local governments, RTMC CEO, Advocate Makosini Msibi, and RTMC executives. It's possible that we also have RTMC board members. We also acknowledge their presence. CEOs and executive management of transport entities, private sector stakeholders. We also have the taxi industry from Gauteng, but also from Santaco, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, fellow South African. Please allow me to extend a very warm word of welcome to all of you and thank you for attending this briefing where we will be releasing the preliminary festive season road safety statistics. However, although we refer to this information on road safety performance statistics, we are talking about human beings, we are talking about people, we are talking about breadwinners, professional mothers, fathers and children who lost their lives needlessly on the roads, largely due to, in the main, negligent behavior. These are actual human beings whose hopes, aspirations and ambitions were dashed. They include luminaries such as the talented playwright Dr. Mbongeni Ngema, a member of parliament Miss Alice Mtembu, two Newcastle-based medical doctors, Dr. Sondezi and Dr. Mhlobo, a Limpopo provincial traffic inspector, Kedibone Railo, who was knocked down by a speeding motorist while on duty on the N1, as well as young newlywed Pretty Matimba Mavundla, who died 7 days after getting married, 7 Simango family members who all passed on when they were crossing a flooded bridge using their vehicle. I think it is therefore befitting, and it is also appropriate on an occasion like this that we bow our heads and observe a moment of silence as a sign of respect to all those who have departed, and also pray for the speedy recovery of the injury. May we please observe a moment of silence. May their souls rest in peace. As a department, the Road Traffic Management Corporation and other role players are charged with the task of promoting road safety in the country. And as a department and provincial government and other stakeholders, we cannot rest on our laurels when thousands of people die on the roads, leaving young children with trauma and permanent emotional and psychological scars. The economic impact of road crashes, fatalities and injuries is counted in billions of rands, and this places an enormous burden on health and social services. Our long journey towards the attainment of the National Development Plan and the United Nations Decade of Action for Road Safety targets shows that we have made some steady progress over the past 5 years, but we are actually doing this from a very high base. Cumulative annual road fatalities have been continuously declining from the year 2018 to the year 2022. The number of annual road deaths in the 5 previous years stabilized from 12,921 to 12,436. The preliminary statistics we are releasing today tell only part of the story about road safety in the country. It is by no means a total story. The story that they tell on the face value is that road crashes over the festive season have almost leveled off when compared to last year. So it's just leveling. However, when measured against the high number of registered vehicles in the country at the start of the 2023-2024 festive season compared to 2022-2023 festive season, the story becomes different. It becomes a story of progress achieved against extraordinary odds. The 2023-2024 festive season period was marked by heavy rainfall and storms, which created challenges on the road. Unfortunately, some drivers did not modify the speed in slippery and wet conditions, and that resulted in avoidable crashes. Others, as we saw in a few incidents in KwaZulu-Natal, insisted on driving over flooded bridges, resulting in tragedy when vehicles were washed away. The number of registered vehicles at the start of this year's festive season campaign on December 1, 2023 stood at 13,133,035. This was significantly higher than the 12,964,430 registered on December 1, 2022, and thus bringing more vehicles registered on the road, which was a difference of 168,000. At the same time, we should know that the total number of driving licenses issued stood at 15,343,067 in December 2023, compared to 14,000 14,897,925 in December 2022, which also brings 445,142 drivers on the road as new drivers. Furthermore, information from the toll concessionaires indicates that roads were extremely busy, with traffic volumes reaching 853,564 at the peak of traveling on December 20 alone. A close examination of crashes and fatalities over 2023-24 festive season period depicted the following trends. Most of the crashes occurred in the first week, that is from December 1 to December 5. Again, during the third week, that is from December 15 to December 21, as well as the fourth week from December 2022 to December 2028. The first week incorporated the payday weekend when people had received bonuses and were having end of the year parties. The third week incorporated the long weekend, industry closure, and the people started traveling. The fourth week incorporated the Christmas long weekend, and it saw a massive increase in traffic volumes and festivities. Most crashes took place between 7 in the afternoon, in the evening, and 10 in the evening, with the peak between 8 in the evening and 9 in the evening. Most fatalities were also recorded on Sundays, which is a new trend. Human factors contributed 80.8% of the crashes. Environmental factors contributed 10.4% as a result of heavy rainfall and storms that had a big impact on road use, whereas vehicle factors contributed 8.8%. 40.9% of those who died were pedestrians. Passengers accounted for 33.6%, drivers accounted for 24.6%, and cyclists accounted for 0.8%. It will be noted very sadly that the majority of those who died were between the ages of 25 and 44. And I can tell you that these, in the main, will have been young boys. Ladies and gentlemen, the number of fatal crashes experienced over the 2023-2024 festive period, that is fatal crashes, is 1,184, which represents a 2.3% decline compared to 2022-2023 festive season, when 1,212 crashes were recorded. This decline was made possible by the intensified law enforcement operations conducted and the high police visibility throughout the country. More than 1.4 million vehicles were stopped and checked in the period under review, with 7,820 drivers arrested for, among others, driving under the influence of alcohol, inconsiderate and reckless driving, producing false documentation, and excessive speeding. The highest speed was recorded on N1 Settle Bridge in Limpopo, where a driver was stopped and arrested for traveling at 225 kilometers per hour in a 120 kilometer zone. A driver with the highest alcohol content was arrested on R409 in Butterworth in the Eastern Cape with a breath alcohol reading of 2.48 milligrams of alcohol per 1,000 milliliters of breath. This far exceeded the legal limit of 0.24 milligram alcohol per 1,000 mils of breath. The top 5 of traffic offenses for which traffic fines were issued are speeding with 7,858 fines compared to 34,576 previously. Driving without fastening seatbelt, with 27,552 fines compared to 29,769 previously. Driving without a driving license with 28,767 fines compared to 28,865 previously. Driving an unlicensed vehicle by 34,896 motorists compared to 37,063 previously, and driving vehicles with worn tires previously. And the last one is driving vehicles with worn tires with 17,335 fines issued compared to 13,671 previously. As a consequence of our relentless law enforcement, as well as education and awareness campaigns, the number of people who died on the roads was of course reduced by 25 bodies. This gives us a 1.7% reduction from 1,452 in the previous reporting period to 1,427 in the current period. 5 provinces, that is the Free State, Eastern Cape, Northern Cape, Limpopo, and Northwest, recorded fewer fatalities, while of course other provinces recorded increases. The provincial breakdown of fatalities is as follows. Free State recorded a 27.4% decline. Eastern Cape recorded a 21.5% decline. Northern Cape recorded a 15.7% decline. Limpopo recorded an 8.4% decline. Northwest recorded a 2.1% decline. Gauteng recorded a 7.6% increase. KwaZulu-Natal recorded a 4.2% increase. Mpumalanga recorded a 9.7% increase. And Western Cape recorded a 22.6% increase. It is worth noting that the Eastern Cape is the only province that managed to surpass the target set for it to reduce fatalities by at least 18.6%. In the light of this, we'll have to have serious engagements with authorities in the provinces and possibly redefine the targets informed by objective dynamics and available resources on the ground in the provinces. I really wish to commend our traffic officers, members of the South African Police Service, and emergency medical services for their sterling work, commitment, and dedication during this period. I also want to commend our MECs that are responsible for traffic in our different 9 provinces for the sacrifices that they made during this period. They sacrifice their family time and pleasure as they committedly enforce the law, as of course continued also to work. That saved the lives of many South Africans. And I regard this as true patriotism. It is this spirit that our founding father, President Nelson Mandela, referred to when he said, "You will achieve more in this world through acts of mercy than you will through acts of retribution." We wish also to implore the sector to fast-track the implementation of the Traffic Law Enforcement Code to bring about harmony and standardization in the traffic law enforcement sector. It is not correct that traffic officers in most provinces do not work on a 24/7 shift system, and we must pay overtime when we're required to do so in order for us to save lives. This is not sustainable, and we will continue to have engagements with MECs and trade unions as social partners to ensure that we remove all obstacles that have so far made it difficult to implement the codes and in all its provinces and all its provisions. We cannot afford these delays when our people are dying in preventable circumstances on the roads. We will also be engaging, as we started even today, with the police, prisons and civil rights union POP crew on their proposals to improve traffic law enforcement in the country. We believe that their proposals may be of great assistance in reducing road crashes and saving lives. Going forward, we will also implement the resolutions on the Road Safety Summit, which was held in December 2023, which include, among others, improving road markings and demarcation for visibility in inclement weather conditions, and to enhance vehicle sensors to read them. In addition, we will work towards designing road safety messaging framework that shows alternatives to drinking and driving, namely promoting ride sharing and alternate drivers. We have considered the introduction of compulsory in-service training on road safety for engineering graduates within municipalities, as well as increasing investment on road safety research. We will also need to have closer engagement with the provinces of Gauteng, Western Cape and KwaZulu-Natal as better resourced provinces to understand what needs to be done for them to improve their performance. We believe that if we can have it right in these provinces, we'll be able to reduce road fatalities. We should spare no effort in implementing initiatives that will make our roads safer for travel. We wish to thank all the stakeholders, especially Renault, Mahindra, Hollard, Santam, and Aware Org for assisting in bolstering our efforts during the festive season. We also realize that while available strides have been made, there is still a long journey ahead, which will require partnerships, resource allocation, determination of targets, and promotion of road safety research. A sincere word of gratitude also goes to members of the media for ensuring that road safety messages reached as many people as possible in rural and urban areas and in different languages. Your contribution is indeed invaluable, and we thank you for being here even today. I thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you so much, Minister. Colleagues, the media now, it is time for Q&A. You know the drill. We'll take 3 sets of questions, and then we'll play by ear, and we can take a second round. I see Nozidom is already, the hand is up. We'll allow you to do so. But just for the sake of, so that we manage, because I've said the MECs are here, you may want to direct questions to MECs, so you do need to know. I thought some of you know the MECs. I think it is important just to say the MEC right next to me is MEC Lihari, is from the Northwest, is responsible for community safety and transport management. And then next to the minister on the right, it is the MEC of public transport and logistics in Gauteng, and it is Ms. Diale Kabela. And then on the left of the minister, it is the MEC of Police, Roads and Transport in the Free State, and it is Ms. Litsoha Matai. So those are the MECs that we have. In case there are certain questions that are directed to the provinces, you can do so. And of course, we have the advocate, Makosini Msilu, who is the CEO of RTMC, as well as the advocate, James Ndawuzi. So would then at this point take the questions. I've seen Nozintombi and Pule from UNCA. Any other taker? In that order, you can still introduce yourself and the news service you represent. Go ahead. Thank you.
Specific number, fatal crashes, and then it also talks about the number of people who died on the road. Just give us, if you could just clarify what does that mean? What's the total number of people who actually died on the roads during the festive period. And I know that with the provision, the 3-week one that we did last year in December, it has been from the 1st of December. These provisional statistics are from the 1st of December up until when? Yes. And then for the Gauteng MEC, we don't seem to be getting it right. What are we going to do about that? That seems to be quite problematic. For RTMC, we're putting so much effort and so much work in terms of educating road users, motorists. I mean, I personally saw how much work went in, but it seems to be flying over people's heads. What's missing, and how do we rectify that? Thank you.
Good day to the panel. Kuleli Chidi Jones from ENCA. First question, do the persisting blackouts and non-working traffic lights influence these stats in any way? Because we all know how this chaos could result in when people are driving. To province as well, any cities, what are we doing to maintain the state of the roads? Many motorists speak to complain about, massive potholes, which could also influence how people drive as well on the roads. And just lastly, are you clamping down on the issuing out of fraudulent license discs? Because if you remember back in 2022, the state was losing just close to about 3 billion rand as well as a result of this, these fraudulent and corrupt activities taking place.
Okay, I'll take two though. Are you okay? Minister, I'll first give it to you and then you can allocate.
Thank you very much, Mr. Msibi. Nozintombi, this year, fatal crashes and therefore accidents that resulted in about 5 more deaths. 1,184 for the 2023 festive season. It's 1,184. During the previous festive season, we had recorded 1,212 fatal crashes. And then fatalities, then people who died. We recorded 1,427. And last year we had actually recorded 1,452. And that therefore gives us a decrease of 1.7%. Yes, and those are the numbers. I think another question is directed to the MEC from Gauteng. Okay, it's 42 days, and therefore we count from the 1st of December up until the 11th of January, but it is always 42 days. And therefore this is accounting for 42 days from the 1st up until the 11th of January. And then, of course, to the MEC, I think she's going to record that. But we did observe some trends during this festive season. We can actually account for each province what we're observing. There are provinces that were consistently high. Consistently. I think Western Cape is one of those. Initially, Gauteng was very high, but later it reduced. KZN would go up during long weekends and down during the course of the week, to the extent that you could then be very worried about the the Easter weekend if the trends continue up until the Easter weekend or any other long weekend for that matter, because this was happening during the first weekend, long weekend, which was the 15th, the 26th, and again the 1st. That was the trend of KZN and other provinces as well. Eastern Cape was doing well, but somewhere even if it never was below, was above the previous year, but somewhere it just declined. But I think continued again to record less fatalities if you compare to the previous festive season. So we will be sitting as MINMEC, Minister, MECs and the provinces to do the analysis of the trends and look at what best can we do. Worrying surely will be the fact that pedestrians are leading at 40%, almost 41%. And it's a combination of many factors. The festivities lead to drunk drivers and drunk pedestrians. And a combination of that gives us what we have. But it is an extremely worrying trend. Because what it means, at times when we expect that we'll be on our national routes, because we're expecting them maybe to be very busy, on provincial roads because we're expecting them to be very busy, but at the same time we've got to spread our limited resources again to be in the urban areas, and that sometimes is a challenge, but it's something that we're going to sit down and analyze and see how best can we divide our resources. But MEC?
Thank you very much, Minister, and thank you very much for the questions. I think what we tried to do during the festive season as part of our commitment as Gauteng on ensuring that we save lives, especially on our roads, was to launch a road safety campaign under a hashtag Fatela. Fatela is a slang for AMA 2000. I'm told it's I care. It's a sign, and our sign language is like this. It's I care, I love, and I care that I'm responsible for my own life and the lives of others. And what we did to the minister and the members of the media was to work closely with different stakeholders. And amongst the stakeholders were people who are liquor trading in our province, to pledge their support towards the road safety campaign in our province, as well as working closely with the stakeholders that we work with on a daily basis, the public transport industry in our province, as well as e-hailing services service providers. And this was to reach out to individuals. We went to different churches, we went to taverns to spread the message in trying to appeal to South Africans, but also Gautengers, to make sure that they are safe on our roads. And the program will be continuing throughout the year. We are also working closely with our community safety department, which is our sister department that is responsible for law enforcement in our province, and closely with the agency, RTMC, to make sure that we intensify on the resources we need. Statistics is around 40.9% pedestrians, and according to what the minister presented here, is the young, and most of them, it's not by mistake. Gauteng is a youthful province, so our campaign that will run throughout the year is trying to also reach out to those age cohorts, and mostly because stats tells us that a lot are found having drank, and we're trying to make sure that we reach them in different places of entertainment. So surely we will try to reduce the statistics, but it's up to the people. So we're trying to appeal to individuals to take responsibility, and that's why you saw us through December promoting the hashtag Fatela, but also talking to individuals in families, abo gogo, abo mama, abo malume, and everybody else that rather don't allow them to go out after engaging in alcohol substances. Rather have them home, and we're encouraging everyone to stay home, have house parties rather than being on our roads. But unfortunately, the message is not reaching out very well to the people, and we're appealing to yourselves as media to assist us. On road maintenance, we are doing very well as a province. I think you have seen us with the Premier launching our 6,000 program for road maintenance, and this we are doing on our provincial roads. And we're still struggling. You would know that our municipalities are struggling financially, and we're trying to put together plans to assist on municipal roads. Obviously, this is a responsibility of municipalities, but it affects people of Gauteng, and we have put mechanisms in place to see how we can assist as a provincial government. But there are boundaries that might make us not achieve all, but all our provincial roads are intact, and we have the road maintenance brigades who are on a daily basis maintaining our roads. Thank you very much, Minister.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you, our colleagues. Indeed, in the Free State, there is an improvement as well on our road maintenance. Those who travel through R34, R74, the Free and Memel area might have realized those changes, and that changes, that improvement, it's because of our contribution and our partnership with SANRAL. Indeed, Minister SANRAL came on board when I asked for intervention and emergency interventions whilst they're going to work on those roads that we have already handed over to them. In the Free State, so far, we have appointed about 10 contractors on our capital projects throughout the province who are working on our roads. So indeed, the situation has improved, Minister, and thanks very much for the partnership that we have with your department at national level and SANRAL. Thank you very much for that, because they really contributed. On the road safety, those who travel through Free State, thanks, Minister, for reminding us that we never had our festive season. Indeed, we worked hard. These results are coming from the work that we really performed. There are challenges there and there, but we work hard. We have never enjoyed our festive season. And thanks for the traffic officials as well. We never enjoyed festive season as well. Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much, Mrs. Regarding the state of our roads, if there's one thing that keeps us awake is that one. But I'm happy that, for instance, the province of Free State is reporting that they transferred roads to SANRAL, which is a state-owned company with the Department of Transport. And I think this is what we have said as the national department, that provinces must identify strategic roads that fit the definition of a national road and transfer them to SANRAL, so that those roads can be maintained and constructed by SANRAL. Where this has happened, Free State is one other example. Eastern Cape is one other province that is a construction site. But all that work that is happening is done by SANRAL for the roads that have been transferred to SANRAL. And they cost billions of rands. And that is what, again, we're encouraging our provinces to do. And we have set a timeline, which is the end of this month, which is the end of December, because we started requesting for this, I think, since April last year. And for SANRAL to plan and plan better, this cannot remain open-ended. And therefore, it's a matter that we're looking into, to say, in order for us at least to have some strategic roads being properly constructed and maintained, let's transfer those to SANRAL. Provinces that have done so, and the MEC can testify to that one, we have not accepted all of them, because there is a criteria a road must meet. And if provinces delay, then we'll not be able to have such a time for looking into the road, look at whether it meets the criteria, and then we accept the road. But this is one other way of trying to ensure that our strategic roads in South Africa are maintained properly and they are constructed properly. That is also one other way of trying to intervene. But let me immediately say and mention that many of these crashes that we're talking about are not even as a result of the potholes. They're not. It's because of this abuse of alcohol, where everybody, not everybody, because I think I'll be wrong, where the majority of South Africans are just drunk. Everybody. No, most of them. It's like there's competition. It's like there's no tomorrow. Now, if you look at the numbers of vehicles that we have in South Africa, 13 million. And if you look at the numbers of drivers that we have in South Africa, 15 million. And if the majority of these people are drunk, but also we have the majority of pedestrians being drunk, it's a problem. And I think it's high time that even our churches, institutions such as churches, universities, any other institution, media as such, we begin to talk about this. Not because I don't drink, but honestly, we can't have a country that the majority of its citizens are drunk from Monday to Monday. What the CEO was actually saying is that during this festive season, we stopped people who were driving under the influence of alcohol at about around 7 o'clock in the morning during the week. And what does this mean? It means this person is drunk almost the whole week. If on Wednesday a person at 7 o'clock in the morning is drunk and is driving, the numbers of women who are also arrested for drunken driving is increasing. When I joined the department, we were talking about 2%, but the numbers have increased dramatically. Probably they're above 30% or even 40% now. This used not to be the case, and therefore it means everybody now has the nerve of drinking and driving, irrespective of gender and everything. The majority of people who are dying on our roads are young Black Africans, who most of them come from tertiary institutions, who are breadwinners, and they get work, they're able to buy vehicles, and then they immediately die. And this is the situation. But I think the CEO would want to say something about the cloning of number plates. CEO.
Thank you, Minister, Mrs. DG. There is a common phenomenon that is gaining momentum in South Africa in terms of the cloning of the number plates. And some of the people are using the language of twins. The code name of the vehicle theft, having a twin on the road, as well as cloning a vehicle, it's closely linked to the issue of vehicle theft throughout the country. That has also increased the number of vehicles and the number of persons that we are increasing on a daily basis. Minister, during the festive season, we had arrested more than 37 of the cloned motor vehicles. You will find that the vehicle is originally registered in KZN, but the vehicle of the same color, same registration, same VIN number is found at the border, en route to cross the border outside South Africa, mainly from the Toyotas and the high 4x4 vehicle. It has now become an order of the day, as well as the other vehicles. The second one that has been asked is an issue of the fraudulent discs. We are pouncing on those colleagues, mainly the affected provinces, Gauteng, Mpumalanga, Free State. We have now seen an emergence within the Northwest province, but we're not going to divulge. But however, as we're closing the year, in terms of the year closure of March, we'll be pouncing on them. But the pinch is going to be felt by the owners of the motor vehicles, because they will have to pay fines, because you pay the criminal to give you a fraudulent disc, and we're also going to recover the entire amount with interest with these measures, to discourage people from beginning to then participate in this matter of fraudulent motor discs. Some of the motor vehicles, we're going to impound them because they are a means in terms of the commission of a crime. So we're not going to give more details in terms of those bullying. Then the issue of the education, road safety education, we're investing so much on road safety education, but we do believe that this year we're going to intensify the partnership with the schools, the faith-based organizations, as well as the communities at large, because it takes the entire village to change the mindset of our drivers. Though we invested so much, we're quite appreciative of the fact that we have not touched on the youth, which are, of course, the major victims of the fatalities on our roads. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Minister. There is a question online which is directed to the MEC of Northwest in terms of the impact of the campaign. Maybe if MEC can respond to that.
uyayithanda ke TV esethu akazuqeda move lezethu.
No, thank you very much. Thank you, Minister, MECs, fellow colleagues. In Northwest, that's why I was quiet. We are doing very well. If you listen to the Minister, we are amongst the provinces that do decrease every year. We have. I'm saying no, in Northwest we are doing very well, but we can't do 100% decrease. We have a lot of programs. For an example, you are stop and search. We do it almost every day. We don't wait for festive seasons around like December or April. We do our major route blocks in all the 4 districts, especially on the major routes, the N4s, N12, and 18. It's a continuing progress. Now, in terms of the condition of roads in the West, it's different from other provinces. I'm MEC for Safety and Transport Management. There is MEC for Public Works and Roads. But in my observation, because I'm from that province, they are also maintaining our roads, also costing our roads very well. So far, we are on the top 5 chair. For now, I'm happy for them. Thank you very much. Top 5 for those who decreases fatalities in the province. Every year, we are less. Thank you.
Minister. Ngizazwola ngoku. Ndiyayiwola yonke.
The MEC says this, then the MEC from Gauteng says we account for almost 50% of the vehicle population in South Africa. When she says this, then the MEC from Free State says, but we are leading in terms of decreasing. So it's a matter I wouldn't want to enter into. However, if this was the last one, honestly, I think it is proper again that we thank different media houses. Okay, maybe joining us here, we have the CEO of Artia. We also are joined by Mr. Mkosa from Sanral. I've not seen other stadium companies that are here. But I think I really want to extend our appreciation to different media houses. Many of you gave us time without us paying a cent. I remember the weekend of the 15th when I called somebody from UKOS and said, please can you give me time tomorrow morning, because I was extremely concerned about the numbers. In the morning. And you could only do this if and only if you have interest in us reducing the deaths of South Africans. I really want to thank you again. We would not have been able to reach out to that person somewhere in South Africa had it not been for the media. I really want to thank you. This legal decrease, this number, it might look very small, but we saved the X number of families from the pain of losing a member. We saved this community from the pain of losing the people that they know. And your contribution is appreciated. But I also want to extend our appreciation to airlines. We approached them and said, as and when you land with your message, please include the message of road safety. And they responded positively. And that is what we call integrated transport planning and implementation. We want really to appreciate that from our many airlines in South Africa. I want to thank South Africans who listened to what we were saying. You'll remember when we were receiving the interim statistics here, the road was very busy because people were responding to our call that they should aim to travel during the day. And the statistics give us exactly that many people travel during the day. And probably that is why we have recorded. At some stage, I was thinking that we are going to exceed by many deaths the numbers for the, against the previous, a year. But we managed to reduce, and I'm happy. At some stage, I was saying, even if it is, we level to the extent that there's no decrease, because I was desperate, and the numbers were going up and going down, fluctuating up and fluctuating down. If we can have it right as all South Africans will have it right on our own. It's not about the Minister of Transport or MECs, it's about South Africans. We can't be talking about 1,000 deaths in just 42 days. It doesn't happen anywhere in the world. It cannot. For some countries, this is high for year statistics. It's high. And it can't. We cannot be a country that is just abusing everything, that believes that it is my car and therefore I can do as I wish. There are rules of the road. And I think we've got to say this. And my plea is that this message, we continue with this message. We continue engaging South Africans on this one. I attended the Msimango family funeral. 7 family members. It's something that you don't want to see in South Africa, but it is happening. And I think we can do better. We are not a cursed country. We can do better. We can reduce these fatalities. It's a matter of abiding by the rules of the road. Then, of course, we have got to ensure that we attend to the engineering of our roads. It's important that we sit and analyze these things. It's important. But South Africans can please do better than what we are doing, if we can do that. That's my plea. It cannot be that long weekends in South Africa recurs. It can't. So we are worried each time there's a long weekend, we must be worried that X number of people are going to die. It can't. We can do better. There is no need for 35 people dying per day in South Africa as an average. It can't. When there's nothing, it's just on a quiet day, but we anticipate, we expect that 35 in average South Africans are going to die on the road. It can't be correct. Because it's possible that per day 0 fatalities are recorded. That can be done because it's us who are driving. So I just want to say that and emphasize the point, but I really want to extend our appreciation to our media. Sometimes we are not our friends, but I think for road safety, you really are our friends. I felt the support from the media. And it was not about the name of the minister, but it was about you being South Africans and very patriotic to South Africa. We felt that support. And we're listening to your messages as and when we're driving. And that was to say, oh Lord, the media of South Africa is joining our campaign. And they are doing it because they have that responsibility to teach and to broadcast fairly and looks at me. Thank you very much.
Minister, thank you so much. I'm still in charge of the press conference, so the issue is that there was still a set of questions to ask.
Oh, okay.
So we would allow ENCA has already come to me and said there's a question which wasn't answered.
Okay.
I would allow Punet to ask the question. And then there's going to be Timothy from the Star, if you still have your question. So far, those are the 2 ministers remaining, not unless there's any other hand. Yes, then there's Soweto TV as well. So we'll take those, while we note the minister's closing remarks, let's just take those and then we'll then move closer to the conclusion. Punet, go ahead.
Sorry about that. I think my question was around the issue of do the persisting blackouts and non-working traffic lights influence these as an where traffic lights are operating as a result of load shedding? Does this also influence these lights?
And then
They didn't.
Twitter, that's Channel Africa, sorry. Go ahead.
the law enforcement officers, what are they doing? Do you think it's enough, their contribution in terms of ensuring that the drivers, the motorists, the behavior is different? Because it's 28 is actually not different from the previous year. It's still sitting on the same thing, in the same level. So I just want to find out how far those discussions are ahead of the Easter holiday, and we know that's another problem. How far are you? What are the plans for this? Are we going to see less numbers? And what's your target in terms of the festive season? What are you hoping? What's the target?
Then we'll take Timothy from the Star.
It's Timothy Burnett from the Star. Minister, I'm asking a question and anybody can answer on these ones. The first one will be drive-through liquor stores. They're becoming a trend where drivers get whatever and they hit the road as a proper drive-through thing. The other one was, Minister, you have revealed to us that Sunday evenings are becoming the thing. Where the accidents are now increasing too. Could this be because there's a lesser visibility of officers on Sundays, especially late afternoon when the sun is disappearing? Then on statistics, do you have the make of vehicles? Young progressive, especially us young black progressives, prefer VW Polos. Can you confirm that they are the high numbers of vehicles that were involved in accidents? And for the Easter travel season, is there anything special that you are doing before travel time? A story that we can, as media, can tell before people start traveling, or a story that we can follow, road construction, for example, or more traffic officers. Thank you.
Before I allow the Minister to respond, can I just sweep any other question so that we move to a close? Yes.
Table form.
Any other hand? Any other hand? So we are closing there.
Greetings to the Minister and everyone. Minister, just wanted to know how far are we in terms of moving cargo out of the road to railway, and if are you for that idea or the solution? Because what I've seen and what I've heard is that most of the factors that are one of the factors that are contributing to potholes might be trucks that are traveling on our roads.
Okay, I think the last question, Minister, we're going to have to take it offline. That's one of our members.
It's one of the people myself.
Maybe let me start with the type of vehicles, and probably to say that we can't say that because it will be very unfair to the company for us to say that. But indeed, you will have young people speeding. They might be using whatever car, but young people do speed, particularly young male Africans. They do speed. But I would definitely not go to the extent of saying it is this car, and I don't think I would be able to do that because it would be extremely unfair to the whatever. Coming to the Easter weekend, our preparations for the Easter weekend. For instance, just this, the statistics that we're talking about tells what we need to do for the Easter weekend. But not only the Easter weekend, any other long weekend. Because if you look at the statistics, it was not only during Christmas where we saw increase. Even just that long weekend of the 15th, we saw increases. And what it says to us is that for any long weekend in South Africa, more people die. And therefore, we've got to have a strategy to deal with that. The number of traffic officers that we have, surely they are not enough.
On a Sunday.
Okay. Yes. The number of traffic officers in South Africa on any day, they are not enough. Would want to have many so that we're able to allocate them to our national routes, provincial roads, but also to our urban areas, residential areas, where many pedestrians die. So they are not enough. But the issue of Sunday, if you look at the past long weekends, the majority of them extended to Monday. The 26th was on, in fact the 25th was on Monday. The Christmas was on Monday, and I know it because the 26th was on Tuesday, and it was the same day on which I got married. I got married on the 26th on Tuesday, so I know. And that therefore made Sunday a very long weekend, a long weekend extending to Monday and Tuesday. So you would imagine that people would have been binging all the way from Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And I want to believe that it could have contributed to Sunday being a day where most people were drunk because of the long weekend that followed. It's the same thing with New Year. The first was on, which was a holiday, was on Monday. But even that very long weekend of the 15th, which was Friday, then 16th on Saturday, then Sunday, it's possible that people would have been binging, but also most of the industries had closed, universities, and therefore people continued to drink. It may necessarily not be that all Sundays recorded high drunken driving, but the majority of them. So I think there are quite a number of factors that could have come to play leading to that. Blackouts or load shedding, there isn't any evidence for now that it may have been responsible for accidents. It could as well be that we have robots in our towns where the speed limit anyway will be less than 60 kilometers per hour. So people will be driving slow under normal circumstances, and therefore even if the robot is not working, they will still be able to work, but that creates traffic, then accidents, and that may lead to fatalities. There might be cars bumping on one another, but there might not be anyone dying out of that because of the speed with which people will be driving. So there isn't any evidence to that effect. On the number of fatalities, fatal crashes being just 28, a difference of 28. For us, what it says is that we are stabilizing as a country. And that is what the United Nations Decade of Action is calling on all countries to do. That first we must stabilize and then decrease. And one might want to record and to report that maybe we have as a country reached the state of stabilizing. If you look at where we were, for instance, in 2014, we're recording something like 14,000 per year. We have stabilized as 12,000 per year. The mammoth task that we are facing as a country is to decrease, which is the second step of the UN Decade of Action, to stabilize and decrease. And that is what we would want to reach now, the state of decreasing the numbers of fatalities and deaths. Fatal crashes is where there is an accident and 5 people in that accident lose their lives. That will be a crash. There might be others somewhere where one person dies, but the fatal crashes will be when we count the X number of people dying from 5 and above. And that is what we're talking about. So yes, indeed we are appreciating the fact that even the UN Decade of Action acknowledge the fact that we'll have to stabilize them, decrease. What all of us as South Africans now must aim towards achieving is real decrease. Can that be done? I think it can be done. And thank you very much. I guess Namasi, you want to say? Thank you very much. Did you?
No, I thought you were Ted? No, I can't, but I'll be repeating a bit of what the minister has said.
Oh, maybe the freight from road to rail.
Yes. Offline.
No, that one is
it's
offline.
No. Thank you very much, Minister. I think, good morning, everyone. I thought that the part we might just want to emphasize, Minister, the Minister has introduced the registrar of the RTIA, and there was a question that was saying, RTMC, having done everything you've done, what more can you do? I thought in the report of the minister, it's very evident that we have a situation where even the posting of the current available manpower or human resources is not aligned to the times to which our critical accidents are happening. And that's what we refer to when we're talking about the need for us across spheres of government to crack this issue of 24/7. It's currently happening in one province. But in order to get to that, it means that across government, at an executive level, at administrative level, we must get to those decisions. So I don't think we are done, and I don't think we must feel defeated. But in reference to the RTIA, you would know that last year there was a Constitutional Court decision in October that gave us the green light to roll out ARTO. So the minister referred here to a conversation we are yet to have with the stakeholders, including POP Crew, so that we deal with those things. But I think it must be expected that when we still have these fatalities that are stubborn, it is expected that across government we must get much more decisive. So I think I wanted to make that point. With regard to the move from road to rail, I think it's important to understand that in the MTSF, the medium strategic framework that we are completing in the next few months, there were targets that were committed to as a sector. And what that means is that you have to agree, not just government, but industry, to say how many of these good types are going to be moved using rail only, so that you reduce the pressure on the roads. The reality, though, that we think is important to acknowledge is that even though you have consensus, you currently need to fix your rail as a country in order to have that structure fully accepted. I think it's important to be open about that. You would notice then that as a department and as government, there are a number of strategies that have been discussed. First, the rail policy. Last year, other interventions that are intended to sort out our rail and logistics. So I think we can get more detailed around those conversations offline, but generally that is the picture, and we don't want it to be as if we're shying away from it. Thank you very much.
And that is what I think we've answered all the questions. And freight logistic roadmap is being implemented, as the DG is saying. It's being implemented. It's got an implementation plan with timelines, because it is in our interest, and we're leading as the Department of Transport, Department of Public Enterprises, together with the National Treasury, in ensuring that the implementation plan is implemented. The National Logistic Crisis Committee at the president's level is also working together with us, because we definitely want to move rail-friendly freight from road to rail, where it belongs, so that we remain with road-friendly freight on the roads. And that is what we want to do. We don't want coal on the road, no. We don't want manganese on the road, no. So we don't want all those rail-friendly goods. And we are moving with speed towards that. And as this DG has said, the National Rail Policy is calling on us separating operations from infrastructure. And that is what the roadmap is talking about. That we establish an infrastructure manager, which will be an equivalent of Sanral, an equivalent of AXA, and then we allow the operators to compete freely as they transport goods. And that is where we are moving towards, and we're trying to move with speed. So if you want to compete, you may as well go and buy a train. In the near future, we'll be able to say, I have a train, I want to deploy it between Durban and Johannesburg to transport this. And we're going to have the TR, which is Transport Economic Regulator. Today we have the IREC. It is busy doing some work. They will allocate slots. They will decide on tariffs. And then, of course, you're going to operate and compete with other train owners, particularly for freight rail. So we're moving towards that, and the issue is the speed with which we are moving towards achieving that. And we hope that if we move with speed, we'll be able to introduce this competition, and then, of course, we're going to have our goods being removed from roads to rail. As it is happening in the aviation sector, AXA owns, on behalf of the state, our international airport infrastructure. But airlines, they compete.
you've got SAA owned by the state, but you've got many other airlines that are privately owned. They compete, they are given slots, they pay tariffs, they fly people. You choose as to which one you're going to fly as a passenger. That is what we want to bring into the rail sector. And that is what the freight logistic roadmap is all about. Just to bring that into the road. These trucks that are on the road here, this road belongs to Sandra. It's a state-owned company. It owns the road infrastructure. But all of us here own our cars and we are using here. We pass through the toll gate, we pay, and we travel on the road. If I want not to drive on the road, then I will not drive on the road. I will keep my car at home. But if I have got to, I'll be ready to pay. And that is what we want to bring in the rail sector. And we think that that model is going to assist us to actually move freight from road to rail once and for all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Minister. That brings us to the end of the press conference. And just to say, before we all get excited and go and get married, the Minister was celebrating the anniversary. She wasn't getting married. She's been married over 2 decades, 3 decades, please? So it's around there. So it was a celebration of the anniversary.
Oh! They think I got married on Tuesday.
And of course, the second issue is that if there is any request for one-on-one,
no, we thought we just got married.
The man who likes TV is here. So he's going to be the one to facilitate that with the journalists who are here. And finally, Minister, to you, there's been a request by the media houses to say probably next time when we do such statistics, let's do it in a closed environment because of the feedback of the noise and so forth. It becomes difficult in the studio to manage the noise. So I'm asking from you to say maybe next time we should then consider moving indoors when we do such a thing. It's only activations where we can do in an open setting like this one. But for press conference of such a nature, we're going to have to move indoors. So that would be the decision that you would make, Minister. Colleagues, Minister and MSCs and DG and CEO, I would like to thank you so much. And also to thank the media for being part of this press conference. Thank you.
Are we able to steal your 10 minutes? Or you give us an opportunity?
Married on my birthday, you're good.
26th of December. I